and welcome to this week's MMA Mental podcast. My name is Ray and I'm joined by Jay. Right, Renzo's trying to come through to us straight away, so should we just kick off with Renzo?
Yeah, go for it, man.
I want to leave a legend wet, so I'm going to find and then I'll see what is he saying something? He's sending me a message, I think. Everything's okay, because I just spoke to him a few moments ago. Right, let's decline and add into this call. Okay, it's ringing in now. Hi, Renzo, are you okay?
Yes, 100%.
Are you good to go?
Yes, always.
Excellent. Okay, so you're on with myself, Ray, and my co-host, Jay. Jay, can you hear Renzo?
Yep, I can. Can Renzo hear me?
Yes, perfectly, my brother. Nice
Great.
meeting you.
We just want to say a massive thank you. We really, really appreciate you giving us your time to be on today's show.
It's my pleasure, my brother. My pleasure to be with you guys.
Thank you. So, Jay, do you want to kick things off?
Yeah, sure, man. I mean, first of all, how's things with you?
If it gets any better and I complain, I'm afraid God's going to throw a light in my head.
Fair enough. Well,
it's too good to be true.
I'm very glad. I mean, I guess I've got to kick things off straight away by I'll kick things off looking into the future, first of all. And I've heard a lot of rumours are going around. And I know that you probably can't say anything specific, but are you going to be fighting in Brazil?
No, I don't believe so. I didn't have a chance to talk to Dana or Lorenzo about that. And this was actually an interview that I did. And they asked about if I would like to fight again. And I say yes. And they mentioned Brazil. And I said that I would love to fight in Brazil, but I never negotiate or never get in any talks about fighting the UFC Brazil in the 153.
Yeah, because of course there's been a lot of rumours going around today, so it's good to because I was quite excited to look at you fight again. It's a bit disappointing, but
me too, man. Me too.
But you know what? I think these things happen.
But you have to understand one thing. I learned that on this business, impossible is nothing. So everything is possible.
I mean. That cannot be said any greater, and I've got a few questions about those sort of moments to discuss with you. But there's one other question that a lot of my mates wanted to ask as well as soon as I mentioned the Gracie name, and that is, what are family parties like?
Oh man, I remember parties that we pushed the table to the side and we roll on the Persian hug until our grandmother came over to kick us out with holding a broom in her hand and hitting us too, so we would stop training. We would check moves even in the middle of a party in a restaurant, wherever we are.
Yeah, man.
They always look at us like we're exotic animal.
It must be great. You must even get the chance to roll with. Everybody's probably getting a chance, from the babies to the grandfathers. Yeah.
Definitely. And the funny thing was, I would roll with the guys of my age and my weight, and my grandfather would be looking and telling me how I should improve. My father would be doing the same, So it was a unique experience, And I don't think even I will be able to reproduce that to my kids, we end up spreading a little bit. Most of us are living in America now, and the United States is a huge country, Now for me to see a relative, I have to jump in a plane for almost 6 hours, to see my brother. And before, we all live in one town. Everybody live in Rio, so it's easy. Yeah,
it must be a shame, but just those memories must have been fantastic, man.
Unbelievable. I hope to write a book soon,
Yeah, I'd happily read it. I've got so many questions, I don't really know where to start here. But
feel free, man.
Right, I guess first of all, yeah, as you were mentioning, it must be a shame having everybody living around. But do you still get a chance to all meet together?
Oh yes. Every time we have a chance, we meet. Now, for you to have an idea, now another way that we found to get together, we're doing camps. So we're just doing a camp in Cancun in September, which I'm going to have the opportunity to see a bunch of family members. Not only the students come, but a lot of my relatives come over to train, to chat, to have fun, to eat together. We always try to get together when we have the chance.
I mean, right, I've decided my next question. This one's quite a kind of significant one. to any MMA fan or any hardcore fan, they will kind of know that the Gracies are kind of royalty in MMA. Did you? Is that? Could that be said? Do you ever kind of feel that having the Gracie name is kind of royalty?
It's I don't. You see, I don't think about those frivolous things. You know, it's like the trophy. People always ask me, "What is the most important fight I ever had?" And I always tell them it's my next one. You know, so in reality, everything that we did and everything that has been done has been done. Of course, history plays a major factor in our lives, but you know, I'm looking forward for the things that I can achieve in the future. You know, and for the fighters that I can build, for the amazing people that surrounds me that I can push forward. That's what my aim is. You know, like I'm like a Spartan, like an old trophy. Nothing is but a rock in the corner in my room. You know.
Yeah, I completely understand. So you kind of, but you mentioned that your next fight is always your most important. But have you ever had a chance to reflect and kind of think which fight or what moment in a fight was your favourite or most incredible moment to you?
I honestly think that the most incredible moment I ever had fighting was when I was fighting Sakuraba and he got me in the arm lock and broke my arm. You know, because my whole life I believed that if I got caught in arm lock, I would never tap.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't prove that true, not even to myself, until that happened. You know, and that was the first time I got caught in arm lock, and that was the first time that I could see that my mind and my heart were bigger than my body. You know, and that to me was I grew as a human being, not only as a fighter, but as a human being too. You know, I realized the power that we all have inside us, and it made me a very proud fighter.
Yes, that's incredibly respectful to. You know, whenever you kind of ask that question, it'll be most people's reaction saying, you know, winning a championship, winning in pride or something like that. But it's incredible to hear somebody realise that they've learnt more off a loss than they have off a win.
In reality, loss always is a better teacher. Mm-hmm. You know, like a lot of times when we win, we don't realize the mistakes that we did. I think this is one of the main reasons why Jiu-Jitsu stay a little bit behind the game right now. You know, even though it's still the most important part, I believe, on the sport of MMA, the reason why we put ourselves a little bit behind was the fact that we won so much.
Yeah.
You know, with such a guarantee to win if you knew Jiu-Jitsu well, that we just relax and we start concentrating on making money and taking care of other things that we shouldn't. We shouldn't be concentrating on improving constantly because in reality, our sport is constantly evolving. So evolving is the secret of fighting. You know, it's like if you ask me which fighter was better, me now or my father back then, you can't compare generations. It's like my son will be 10 times better in terms of knowledge, and all the tests that I'm doing now, I'm going to be passing to him, and I'm going to be moving to him so he can move even further forward. So in reality, the future generations will be always better, exactly like that song from Louis Armstrong, you know?
Yeah, I have to agree that, of course, they're going to have the edge. They're going to know new things. They're going to know what mistakes. They've got all the benefit. But
Yes. For you to have an idea, in my young age, we not even had a DVD. Like,
True.
I'm sorry, a VHS back then. We could not even watch. Like, to get a camera to film a training session was hell. You know, we had to borrow from a friend of a friend to be able to film a training session so we could watch again later. You know, and now anybody has access to that through a cell phone.
yeah,
you know?
of course. And when you won back in that tournament back in 1995, like it must have been impossible to get a copy of that. Like what you did wrong.
Yes. It was hell to get it, but I was able to get it. You know.
It's always it's the ease of access, I guess, is different, but.
Yeah.
I've still got loads of questions, but I know Ray wants to also ask some questions. But first of all, have you seen the British fighter Paul Sass?
What's his name?
Paul Sass. He's the guy who's won by like 9 triangle chokes with the heel hooks and things like that.
Oh yes, I heard about that guy. He has an unbelievable jiu-jitsu, I heard.
Yeah, I was just. Have you had a chance to see his fights?
Actually, not. I didn't have a chance yet.
It's
the problem now. They have so many events, so many fights, you know. But I heard a lot about him. People are talking a lot about him. His quality of grappling and finishing holds, I heard it's sick.
Yeah, I was thinking that his guard is almost Gracie-esque. That it's the way he kind of it's just incredible. And I was just wondering whether you could kind of talk us through kind of what he does. But if you haven't seen his fights, you've got to go see him. I mean,
No, for sure, I'm gonna check that out.
yeah,
For sure, I'm gonna go check that out. Yes.
I mean,
You know, lately I've been very busy. Like my life has been, and since I'm training too, it's been. I cannot even like I wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and for you to have an idea, I even forgot about our interview today, and I was on my way to get a disc from the computer who broke, and I had to get this specialist to because the hard drive fried, so I have to get the information so my school can run. You know, like I have 1,340 students waiting for the information to be on the computer.
It sounds like you have a busy life, which means I'll just ask my one last question before handing you over. Have you personally got a favourite fighter, other than a Gracie, of course? Have you got?
Yes, I do. I have a man. Every person who steps on that ring is my favorite fighter. Anything that promotes fighting, the guy's my favorite fighter. Any father who wakes up early, works hard the whole day to put his kids through college and give them an education and prepare them for life is my favorite fighter, my friend. If you fight, you're my favorite fighter.
That's incredible. Ray, I am gobsmacked, so I'll hand you over. This guy's amazing. Ray, do you have any questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I was so excited to obviously have the opportunity to talk with you. I wanted to ask you, go back a little bit further, obviously to the start of the sport, if you like, or when we started to see it in America. When the Gracies first introduced UFC, MMA, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu to America, and then obviously it went over. Then it became big and big.
I think the first time that actually was on all the press and was in 1998.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 1988.
Yeah.
There was Chuck Norris who actually invited us over to do a big seminar. They had over 1,500 people there, and all the main magazines, all the sponsors like Century and all those old brands, and a bunch of. And he was introducing jiu-jitsu to the karate community, which was the biggest martial art community in America back then. And they received us with the open heart, and we had a great weekend in Vegas. And Chuck was an unbelievable guy. That's why people ask me, who is your favorite, Chuck Norris or Seagal, Chuck Norris or Van Damme? Chuck is in a different league. He's to me, he's he's the main martial artist. A great guy, a very giving soul. And it's a guy who looks after everybody who's around him. I had the great opportunity of meeting him, and to me, I hold him in very high standards. And he was actually the guy who introduced us to the media, to the United States. And once United States to start promoting you, the whole world had a chance to look into it and see it,
Could you ever imagine that it would go as big as what it is now?
I actually think it took too long. I wish it was like that already when I was 25, because I could fight for 26, 27 more years,
Yeah.
But that's okay. Everything comes on the right time. And even though I may not be fighting for the next 20 years, but for sure my son will be, And he'll make me very proud. And it'll be to me the same as I'm fighting myself.
Yeah, of course. And do you get the same sense of pride when you see your students go out and fight as well?
Yes. To me, it's like every single one of them are my kids. Like when a student fights, when a brother fights, a cousin fights, to me, they are all the same. It's like, if they lose, I die that day. If they win, I'm born again, And when they lose, we go home and we working on it to make it better and to correct the mistakes and make them better for the next time. It's an unbelievable life that I was lucky enough to end up in it. I didn't ask to be born here, but every day when I pray to my grandfather to thank him to give me the opportunity of this lifestyle.
I was going to ask you as well a little bit about obviously Pride Fighting Championship. What was your experiences with Pride, and what was your experiences fighting in Japan?
Japan was a very unique country, unique people. The people are unbelievable, and it was an experience very rewarding because my whole life I grew hearing about the Japanese culture, the Japanese people, how tough they were. And to have the opportunity in my lifetime to go back to Japan and be fighting in front of 65,000 people, in an arena let me tell you, it's unforgettable. It's like when I leave this life, those are the memories that I'm going to take with me. I don't want to take nothing else. All the goods that I was able to put it together, I want to leave back here, and I hope my kids spend everything. But those memories, I'm cherishing them forever. And I hope there's life after that, because I'm going to tell a lot of stories when I get there.
I was going to ask you a little bit as well. You mentioned it on about Kazushi Sakuraba. Did you actually get to meet him outside of the ring? And if you did, what was he like?
Yes. Unbelievable guy. A great guy. Very funny. A prankster. Cracks jokes all the time. We had plenty dinners together with the promoters of Pride and the other organizations, other fighting organizations in Japan, the Pancratian company, and it was unbelievable. Very, very nice guy. It's you see, that's when you realize that a lot of times people who are able to achieve so much, they don't achieve without a reason. They deserve that. And Sakuraba for sure deserved everything he got. He was a very dedicated fighter, worked very hard, and embrace fighting as a style of life, the same way that we did. And it's exactly like I said after I lost to him. I think Sakuraba was a Japanese version of a Gracie family member, and I wasn't wrong.
Yeah, he was certainly an exceptional fighter. Just like say about yourself and the Gracies. Obviously, they were exceptional fighters as well. What was it like for you to finally fight in the UFC? Because I think that was probably fair to say it was a long time coming, wasn't it?
Oh man, this was something that I really looked forward to doing, and I was very happy to do, especially because the event was in Abu Dhabi. And because the crowd was mostly British guys. And let me tell you, it's like I was fighting in Brazil. The English people is the best supporters you can have in the sport. It's like we are soccer fans. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We cherish in a different way, with a different intensity. And it was great. It was a great experience. Unfortunately, I didn't have time enough to get ready because I was previous to that fight. I was 3 years without doing one push-up. I wasn't motivated of training, of doing nothing. I was 210 pounds. I was fat like I couldn't believe. I'd never been like that heavy before. And I'm sorry, my nanny is she's cleaning the house here. So basically, I never expected to be that heavy. And next thing I see, I'm sitting down in Abu Dhabi with Lorenzo Fertitta and Dana White, and they say they're going to do a show in Abu Dhabi. And if I would like to fight it. I say, when is it? They go 6 months from now. So I had to shed 40 pounds and get myself in shape on those 6 months, and it was hell. I just couldn't. I could not even take a 155-pounder down, and that reflected my fight. I saw it there,
It's a shame you didn't have more preparation for it. Do you think you will get a chance to fight in the UFC again?
Hell yeah, boy. Hell yeah. Unless they turn me down, even if I fight for free.
You've fought some really, really, some legends of the sport, if you like. Frank Shamrock, Carlos. Who are some of the favourite guys that you've fought?
Every single one of them. These people that people calling me a legend, people calling me a master, they calling me the greatest and this and that. The reality, I am what those guys brought to me. Those guys made me who I am. The chances of sweating, bleeding, with them is what made me the great teacher that I am today. The great person that I am today. They not only helped forge my fighting skills, but they helped forge my character. And to every single one of them, I own a lot. And I honestly believe that a man owes sometimes more to his enemies than he actually owes to his friends. And I'm one of those luckiest ones. I'm grateful I had great enemies.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you as well. Obviously, we all know the family name, Gracie, and we obviously know what you do with your fighting. But what do you like to do in your spare time? When you're away from fighting, what do you like to do?
Think about fighting. In reality, I read a lot. I'm always with my kids and my wife, and I travel a lot too. I'm constantly busy. I take care of my academy, and we have 4 academies now, plus 32 affiliates, and it's like my main school. We have 1,340 students. So it's a full-time job. We can relax. It's constantly trying to improve the service to them, working to make the instructors better, to make the system better, and on top of that, I have the fighters. So in my spare moment, I'm working, or I'm thinking about work, And as a great Brazilian guy, making love to my wife every time I can. Sometimes twice a day. What else can I say?
That's
when she doesn't run away from me, of course.
no, that's pretty international, that last one. But anyway, we really appreciate your time. Is there anybody that you'd like to thank? Any sponsors? Any shout-outs?
My dear brother, the only person that I want to thank is you guys for such a great interview and for a little bit of your time. Thank you very much for having me.
It's no problem at all. Thanks a lot, man.
It's been a pleasure, Renzo. Thank you very much.
All the best to you guys. Bye-bye.
Renzo, bye. Wow. Did we just speak to Renzo Gracie?
Apparently, yeah.
Did we just fall asleep and wake up, or did we actually speak to Renzo Gracie?
No, we I don't know.
Was that as surreal for you as it was for me?
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
So we haven't really... we didn't start the show where we normally do, so we'll just... we'll I don't know, that was just mental. It was fantastic.
No, I'll edit out the massive pause, but... Whoa, guys, Renzo Gracie, legend. He was at Pride 1 and 2. He was at UFC in Abu Dhabi. He's a legend, guys. And as you
and it's his family that, basically instigated the sport that we love.
Not only that, but it's Renzo Gracie.
What else can you say?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, we have